Nice. We're moving along. Chapter 5. Picking a room, friend, and enemies. There was an atmosphere of excitement because most were saved by this coming of age event. Some were fearful due to other races and animals, confusion of how to fit into the new world with the start of an intricate dance that would make up the new social order that would probably decide how they lived. This fragment of a lost world, the sky had an onyx hue that felt living, a constant itching about, with the darkness growing and retracting. The light was sparse in contrast to its previous world. It felt like evening with night making haste to cross the land while leaving emptiness in its path. By the way it was moving, stars would eventually be blanketed, letting you know that night was about to rule. Everyone could feel that this place was a second chance, but also a dangerous place. Vic's fly was glad to hear that the speech came to an end. The colors dissipated, and he was able to see more of the people that were in the courtyard. He seen a griffin perched on the manor squawking at his dad. The griffin was quite a sight, with golden wings and a body to match. The body of a tool shed and wings that could be a makeshift roof for a house. He looked to be apologizing for something, and knowing him, there was no telling. He seen elves, dwarves, animals, and even mixed races. Lots of humans and a few people were talking or leaving, headed for their respective dorms. Vix was overhearing lots of conversations. People were making conversations. He overheard some people talking about the difference between portaling to a place versus warping, and how this felt like neither. Some were talking about the fountain and the properties, and how it changed from legendary to rare. Vix was just taking in all the information that he could. There was one guy that had to be somewhere near 8 feet tall or more, just sitting down in the courtyard. One person that gave off weird vibes. He was not close enough to identify any of the stranger individuals. Then he felt a wave of exhaustion hit. He seen a few people running towards the dorm like they were afraid of something. He wondered why he was not acting weird as well. Clearly some of these animals were top predators, and for the most part the only real scary things here. Then hindsight kicked in, and he thought it had to be due to the fountain, or maybe just his reclusive upbringing. Exhaustion seemed to be increasing with time, and he felt like he could sleep for weeks as he continued to the dorm. First goal was to pick a decent room, a room with good floor mates. The dorm building was pretty big, a longhouse variation. When he walked in it, it was chaos. He seen a panther dragging out the bed frame by his teeth from a room, then gripped the mattress and with a swinging motion of his head, tossed it back into the room. Used his nose to usher the mattress to a corner and was about to lay down until he walked forward and closed the door with his tail. It looked like all the rooms on the first floor was in the process of being claimed. A few of them, late to get a room on the first floor, eyed the stairs with resentment. But there was no choice, and eventually moves were made. He found a room on the second floor, and when he walked in, there was a notepad that said, "Sign here to claim." So, he signed, and the room was owned by him, as well as the notepad. Room claim, reusal item, divine. The reusal is the note-taking individual statistics held pad. It will keep up with your process and update the administration on your process on how well you're adapting to life as well as faction goals. Some functions are hidden until available prerequisites are met. Interesting. And this room was small. A closet, a bed, a bathroom, and a study table or food table. He seen other big rooms that looked to be shared spaces, but the tiredness was the enemy that he barely was holding his own against. He had a window overlooking the courtyard, and when he looked out, he seen that there were people out there sleeping. Probably thought they could make friends and forgot the fact that their bodies needed rest after a transition. Well, they probably made them because that was an experience they now shared. Sleeping in the courtyard and probably had to live in the 3rd to 4th level of the dorm gave them a level of familiarity that would make developing a relationship easier. He flopped on his bed and let the tiredness win this round. He knew his social awkwardness would definitely be an obstacle for tomorrow, but today he felt like he acquitted himself like a normal human being without gathering too much attention. Arkistan had to redecorate his roof. His temporary manor now had to house a griffin. It was definitely too huge to live in the dorms with the rest of the recipients. So, he created an elegant nest made from sleepy silk, fur of a moss bear, that increased the beast's natural healing as well as had the effect of calming the mind due to the aroma that released upon movement. Wood of a knot tree to frame it and handle the weight of the griffin on the outer border of the nest if it rolled too much. Flanks, which was his name, was fast asleep before he even finished the frame. Before bed, he also created a tent-like outhouse for the giant. He felt bad for the guy because he did not seem to want to hunch or crouch into the dorm. 8 feet something was big, but he could probably make do. Anyway, this first day on the job seemed like a letdown in overall sleeping accommodations, and he knew his score would reflect poorly. The truth is, though, that they're going to have to learn to make do with what's given. He had to think calm thoughts now and work on his own mental state without the aid of effects. So, he chalked it up to life. It's not fair, and some will have to face with that fact way more than others. Vix woke up to the sounds of people leaving. They were up early, but it seemed they were eager to start the day. He shifted up in his bed and got to his feet to look out the window. He seen like 5 elves and a few beasts. The beasts were cat-like, but the colors were different. One was black, another one was purple, and the last one was a sun color. He guessed since there were no humans, maybe they were still asleep. He thought maybe he could wander down and leave with another group and just introduce himself as he merged with them as they both were trying to leave out the door. Yes, that's how it would work, he thought, and he put on the outfit that was available in the closet. It was just a jacket, a plain shirt, and some pants. The jacket had an emblem on the back that looked like a lit candle with a holster, the symbol of the divine faction. He started to make his way downstairs, but it did not even sound like anyone was trying to make moves. Covered by a portion of the stairway entrance, he tried to listen to tell if somebody was coming. "What are you doing?" the elf asked. He jumped a tad bit with a little surprise and looked back. 3 elves were looking at him, and they had 2 birds to pray with them. "I'm just waiting for a friend," he said, which was true depending on perspective. After saying that, he stared at them feeling totally awkward. And he was hoping that since he knew he was going to be awkward like this, he was hoping it actually wouldn't be awkward like this. "You are acting like a shade, and if you are a nefarious beast, we'll handle it now," Biggs responded. "We're all on the same team here, since it's initiation and all," he said, wanting to end the hostility and just leave quickly. Now, since he encountered these elves who easily creeped up on him, he guessed elves were early birds who actually had birds with them, since so far that was the only race he's seen. "Only time will tell if that is true, human. Be careful how you tread. We shall be watching." With that, they took their leave, with no introduction being given by either party. Vix could only hope they would forget him with time. Maybe that all humans looked alike notion would work here too, and it would be too much trouble to remember him with all the new faces. This is not the first time a social situation happened like this with a certain branch of people, and he learned it was best just to listen to the requests and move out of their way. This was the first at agitating a different race, though. It would seem elves would be marked from the list of friendship. He felt a small tremor that felt like something hit the floor. Then the door opened and a voice bellowed, "Hard work needs fresh legs and strong arms to accomplish greatness," said the man. He walked down the hall, coming towards the entrance, and he spotted him. He looked human enough, and Vix thought might as well start with a solo instead of a group. He walked out a bit and stretched so the man could get a glimpse of him. He didn't want to just pop out at the last minute. Instead, Vix slowly navigated his approach and timed it so they would meet up and sync as they walked out the door. He knew not to say good morning because that was a one-liner. So he asked, "Why say that thing about hard work so loudly in the morning?" He already wanted to take it back because it felt accusatory, and he probably should have just introduced himself. "Oh, you heard that? Well, it's sort of like a chant to get me in my right mind. It's something I learned from my dad. It's so normal to me. I forget I say it out loud sometimes." "Are you not worried about being that loud guy in the morning?" Vix said, while trying to figure out where the guy was going so he could adjust properly. "What is this loud guy in the morning?" Vix sighed and said, "Well, people are quickly agitated and why they're rather sleep and don't like to be bothered. That's why my dad moved out of the city because of the loud guys in the morning. Basically, it's the guy that wants to wake up everyone since he is up, and describes that personality of someone who believes life should start for everyone since he is up." "I can see that. But nope, I am just naturally loud. No purpose." Then there was silence, and then he said, "The name is Anvil Baldbeard. And yours?" Vixturo Fly. Most just call me Vix. He was just gonna let it settle a bit so he would not forget his name. But then Anvil asked, "So you do have friends?" "Well, it just sounds better that way. But I did have a few. No telling what happened to them," Vix said. And it seemed that they were walking towards the arena, and he guessed that Anvil probably wanted to get some early morning training in. "Sorry, didn't mean to bring up bad memories," said Anvil. "It's fine. I know we all have our stories, since from the speech we all came from difficult circumstances." "Aye, that we did," said Anvil. Vix looked at him, and he seemed somewhat down, like he was fighting a mental battle, and happiness was not going to win. Thinking on it more, this guy was a little too big to be a regular human. Even though he's seen some big guys, they all should have been between the same ages. And he didn't want to say it, but it just kind of blurted out. "Are you human?" "Partially. I'm a barbarian, mixed between a human and a dwarf." Vix nodded, shaking his head, since it made sense, and why his last name fit him so well, because he was a broad individual with a bald head and decent beard. They reached the arena, and it had a little podium with the outline the size of the notepad they were given, and he took his out and placed it in the area. It glowed for a bit, but then a sound was made, and Amber opened the door like this was easy to figure out. I guess it was, since they did it. When he entered, he seen elves, beasts, birds, and dwarves. They were running and walking and going through doors. This was the first day, and then he reconsidered that thought. The second day, and they were just going about like this was normal. One race he did not see a lot of was humans. Anvil walked away, and Vix believed he knew he was going to start asking questions. And Anvil said, "I don't think you're ready to follow me here." And he pulled up his arm and curled, showing muscle. "I'm doing strength training." He smirked and went his way. Vix wondered, would it be wrong if he took that as a challenge? This place was huge and filled with people, and he did not want to be odd. As Amber walked further and further away, and Vix was not moving, Vix knew he was odd. He felt like he was acting pretty normal for a while, and that made him happy, a little on the inside. Then the thought hit him. Did he even make a friend? Because usually friends say stuff like, meet me here at this time when you're done. He didn't even get to see you around. He guessed he could have said that himself. Anyway, he thought, he did get his name, so he didn't feel too bothered by that revelation. But he would have to venture into the arena solo on his own.
Oh goody, we finished another one. Someone bring me some hot